97 after the 98 would have been.
Right.
So yeah, then probably the biggest highlight for coaching the kids was grand final.
Yeah.
Everyone's highlight loves the grand final.
So you coached the grand final side?
Yeah, coached the grand final side.
Premiership side?
Premiership side.
Yep.
And we had a good little side.
Yep.
And those players have played the 96 side now. I've got 4 of them playing in the seniors at Morwell.
Oh, okay.
So, which is probably a good thing, which is Michael Funky Duncan,
Yep.
which we used to call Racehorse.
Yep.
Ben,
Yep.
my son, John Reed,
Mhm.
and there's a couple others around who are playing at Morwell now. Characters, yeah, there's a few of them, probably us, probably doing the job. We were probably the main ones because we used to. I think presentation days were our. Once the kids were gone, was our little day.
Yep.
And yeah, a few of us used to get together and
Have an end of year
have an
celebration.
end of year celebration. I think it was just a get over all the kids.
Right.
So yeah,
Anyway.
good times. I think when we used to go to the club after the presentation, get kicked out of there. That was probably our best part what we've had out of it. But yeah, there's a lot of people involved in that. And it's been really good. So
Yep.
we needed to make sure that. I think our main aim was we had a good side, and we had kids that wanted to play football.
Yep.
And that was our main objective. Didn't care if we win or lose. That wasn't our main aim.
Enjoy
And I mean, having 35 kids, I used to share kids to other clubs and that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the way to do it.
Yep. The very first game they won after I took over as coach, after not winning after 2 or 3 years, not scoring and that.
Okay.
So yep, those have been the best ones they've had. I mean, just watching the kids play and then watching them grow up to play senior football now,
Yep.
or any type of football. Those things I think just the meeting people, the different people in the club who you got to meet, and we got to form a good group of people. There's about 18 of us who always go out every year now.
Yep.
And it's happened for the last probably 12 years,
Mhm.
and we still do it now.
Yes.
So we all stick together. So yeah, best times we've had was I think youth club was a family club,
Yes.
and that's what it was to us. And we all got on as a big group. And I mean, with the amount of kids you had your blues.
Mm.
So no, it's good.
I was involved in from 1994 through till 2004. I was involved for 10 years.
Okay, 10 years. How many boys did you have play at? For Morwell?
3 boys, all
boys?
played at youth club. Yeah.
What were their names?
Shane was the eldest, and Mark was the second eldest, and young Glenn was the youngest one. He was the last to go through. Well, in the 10 years that I was there, I actually coached for 8 years myself, and there was Wayne Draper, there was Russell Donoghue, there was Greg Street. There'd be named 2 or 3. Greg Hosking. In the 10 years that I served down there, I was the first year I was down there. I was Wayne's under 10s goal umpire, and then I took on the presidency, which I was president for 8 years of my 10 years service down there. And also of that 8 years of presidency, I also coached the under 13s, and it went under 14s for 8 years.
How did they move you from the goal umpire spot?
I got sort of talked into it and railroaded, you might say. They actually said to me, we want you to do the goal umpire and we want you to coach next year. So, but yeah, look, I was more than happy to do it, and more than happy to be involved in the club. It was a fantastic place to be around. Michael Racehorse Duncan, who's now down at Morwell playing senior football down there. There was Ben Draper, who's also down at Morwell playing football. There was John Reed. There was Sammy Mills, just to try to think of a few more. There was a lot of them down there.
Who was the kid you liked to watch?
Oh, Michael Duncan.
Why was that, mate?
Oh, he was just a free-flowing, natural left footer. He had a funny kicking style back in the years when he started with youth club, but he's got rid of that now, and he was just a natural footballer to watch, and he just very, very graceful, and which most left footers are. I was, like I said, as president for 8 years. There was so many good helpers and friends that we made at youth club, which we're still in friends with now. And there was the Donohues, there's the Drapers, and there's the Rick Manns, and those sort of people that Greg Street was a hell of a nice guy, and you catch up with these people from time to time and associate with them and socialise with them, and there was a lot of characters around the place. My Saturday morning sort of started about 7 o'clock in the morning, and because Carmel did the canteen, and we'd go down there and get the pies and that on ready for Saturday morning, and if it was an away game, we'd have to load all the gear on, and normally Greg Street or Wayne Draper or someone would meet me at the club rooms. We'd take all the helmets and whatever and the jumpers, and it was basically from 7 o'clock in the morning through till 12:30, 1 o'clock was full on. You'd be either supporting the other sides or getting my kids ready who I was coaching, which was the last game for the day. Last game of the home and away season in the third year of my coaching. We hadn't won a game for 3 years. We'd been belted every game, and we were playing Tigers down at Northern Reserve. And what we did do is we got up and beat them by 2 points on the final siren, and that was the first game that I'd coached and won for youth club. And you'd think the boys had won a premiership. They threw their helmets in the air, they were hugging and kissing one another, they really had a ball. That was one memorable game. And obviously 1998, the under-13s premiership side was obviously the other game that I remember.
And how did you celebrate those?
Well, once the kids, kids are kids. Once the kids are sort of settled down and whatever, and they disappear, whatever. A few of the parents and that are involved. We had a few alcoholic drinks, of course, as you do.
As you do.
Look, probably I had a lot of good memories, and all of them were good memories. They were a great bunch of kids to coach. In the early years that I was down there, we used to get beaten a hell of a lot, as I told you before. And the kids just kept coming back and coming back and coming back. Whether they were getting belted by 15 to 20 goals a week, they'd still come back. The parents, I always had an open book where if a parent had a problem, they'd come and see me and we'd sort the problem out. And just the camaraderie and the friendship of the people that I had around the club, it was a big family club. And I just remember it as one of the great junior clubs that I've ever been involved in.
Just ran the canteen for a few years.
Yep.
Quite a few
You
years.
probably did 100 other jobs.
Oh no, just the same as all the other mothers. Like jumpers and all that.
And how did you go about coordinating that?
Oh, when I was there, the mothers just all worked together. It was just, you had your group of mothers that every week that you had a home game, they'd all just come in and dig in and help and do whatever was asked of them to do. Yeah.
No worries.
Being a mum, you see different things to what other people see. I mean, racehorse, Michael Duncan I always liked, and Benny Draper and Sammy Mills, they always stuck in my mind because they were good little players. But you just see your ones that, half the time you might not know their names, but they try their little hearts out. And I mean, we had young Stephen Schultz play for us for a while, and he always tried his best, and yeah, he had a good time enjoying his footy. And that's what I always look at, as long as the kids enjoy their football. They don't have to be good as long as they enjoy it.
It's...
Rick Mann, you never knew what he was going to get up to or do. Greg Street was another one. You never sort of quite knew what Greg was going to get up to either. Every day was a drama day to Jeff. From the time we got down there to the time we left. If the rooms weren't swept out, he'd crack. If something else wasn't done, he'd crack. Mr. Perfectionist, and he expected everybody else to be the same.
And how did you cope with that?
I just turn off. Or told him to shut up. Either one. You got a bit excited and all. But there was one young boy that played for youth club all his time, and he'd never won a game of football, and that was his last game for youth club, and it was the last game, and we won it by 2 points. And it was just, it was the best game out. And beating Tigers have even made it that little bit better. I've never seen so many excited parents, honestly. It was, yeah. We forgot the canteen. Nobody was even in the canteen. We're all out watching the football.
Yeah.
So, probably about the only game I've really watched.
69 to about 77, 78.
77, 78.
Yeah, I was secretary for about 9 years.
Right, okay. And Oliver,
Yeah, I was treasurer.
you were treasurer for that
Yeah, for
period
that.
of time?
Well, I was treasurer the year before Jack,
Yep.
and then I finished the year before he did.
Yeah,
So we
okay.
did about eight or 9 years.
years.
Right.
Yeah.
And over that period of time, you had the 4 boys go through the club. I think
Yeah.
They all played there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Right through from under 10s, 11s through to under 16, 17.
Yeah, the young ones did, but Peter started in the under 13s.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
No, under 15s Peter started. The under 11s, of course, had 2 teams,
Yep.
and Brian Batoli did one,
That's right.
and Brian Murray did the other one.
That's right.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, that was the Reds and the Whites.
Reds and the
the
Whites.
Whites won the flag that year in
and
69,
69,
didn't they?
that's right.
Against the Reds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dave Johnson was doing the under 13s.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's right.
I got an idea. Stan Glossop was doing the 15s, and Roy Davison was
Did
doing
the 17s.
17s, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Ware had a go at
That's
the
right.
under
Yeah,
12s.
Chris for a couple of years, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
you did too.
Cyril, and then Alan came. When Cyril opted out, Alan Matheson took over the under 16s.
Yes.
And he did it for almost the rest of the time we were there.
Yeah.
We used to take them down to Rosebud, to a holiday house down at Rosebud for a weekend.
Yeah.
And Doggy came down one weekend, one of the years that we were down there, and we had a big beam
Yeah.
across the centre. Were you there then?
No.
And anyway, they said that he was out streaking on the street. And, no, and he said he wasn't out streaking because he had his moccasins on.
Right, okay.
So anyway, he stripped off his, somebody tore his underpants off
Yep.
and threw them up on the beam.
Oh,
And they
okay.
were left up there. So he was a real,
Yep.
he was a real character. Yeah.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah. A fella with the name of, I shouldn't name him. I can't think of his name now. Actually, it just went gone right out of my head.
There you
Well,
go.
tell him what he did when you took him down to Melbourne to the football.
Yes.
Don't mention his name.
Aussie.
Are these on the
I'll
bus
tell you
trips that we
fellas,
made to the footy?
Aussie guard. Remember Aussie? He
Yeah.
didn't play a lot. And Paul Thomas. We're
Oh, okay.
in the concrete stand at the MCG.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's a fire. And they got papers burning up in the corner of the grandstand.
Oh, okay.
Aussie and Paul.
Well, they
If
get
Tomo goes to this night, he'll kill me if I tell him that.
Well, it's on
Must
it
have been a
now.
cold day. They're just trying to keep warm, Jack.
I don't know what it was, but they weren't taking much notice of the footy. We had some good times down there.
Yeah.
A lot of some of the ladies that worked there, they were characters in that kitchen and that. They used to get up some terrible stuff. And when we used to have the presentation nights, I used to buy a box of lemonade for them,
Yes.
pour about that much out and fill them up with blackberry nip. And they were all
Ah,
over forever
okay.
by the time we got our tea. We never ever went to one.
Yeah.
Someone else asked me that too.
Yeah.
We never went to one at the RSL.
Righto.
We only ever went to that one
Yeah.
at the old town hall.
So
that's
that must
now
have
the
been
Arts
69 then.
I think it might have been 69 because
Yeah.
the presenter at that one was Jeff Rosenau from Geelong,
Yeah. Okay.
and he drove all the way up from Geelong.
Yep.
And we got a lot of help. It was a shame that the Latrobe Valley Junior Footy League collapsed.
Mm.
The under 16s and 14s, it was, and 15s and 17s, that was Latrobe Valley. You know that they were the only junior football league affiliated with the Victorian Country Football League.
Yep.
They were the only one in Victoria.
In the
One
club?
funny incident that happened in the club,
Yeah.
Oliver and Fred Fryer had a cream cake fight in the kitchen. That's one of the funniest things that poor old Fred didn't know what to do, but he got into it in the finish. She started it and he finished it.
Oh, we used to have
Yeah, we used
good,
to, we used to
good
have some
fun.
good fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And as well as the kids used to have some fun too.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not ever going to play in a father and son game again.
They were good.
Yeah, they were fun days.
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the first one that they had, we had a friend of ours was caretaker,
Yeah.
and at the VFL House.
VFL House.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He was just the caretaker.
Yeah.
And we asked him would he come up, being a representative from the VFL. And at that time, who was...
Eric McCutcheon was the president of the
Yeah,
VFL.
And Quem told him that he was coming up.
Yep.
And he gave him a football to bring up.
Yeah.
That's the one
And
we
we-
played with.
And we played with that.
Yeah.
But we never ever let on to anybody that he was only the caretaker.
Yeah, no,
We
no,
said
of
he
course
was
not.
from the VFL.
Excellent.
I always remember, one of those games, I don't know which one it was fairly cold and Mather come down with a pair of Nancy's pantyhose on.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
remember that one.
And then we had another one, and they said they didn't want any. They wanted a proper umpire.
It was
Yep.
Bill Anderson umpired a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, at that time, they didn't like what was his name,
Jeffrey Guriak.
Jeffrey
He
Guriak,
was an umpire.
Oh, okay.
and everybody hated
Yes,
him as an umpire.
He should be at this too because he's an ex-youth club.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah, I
and
know the guy now. You mentioned his name.
they said they wanted a proper umpire.
Yep.
So I organised Jeffrey to come
Yep.
to umpire. So that everybody's ready to run out in the ground, no umpire. Where's the umpire? And he got out of the car and blew the whistle, and everybody they nearly went berserk. Because I can't tell you on tape what they said about him, you know, being an umpire. But he did. He thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
67 to about 97 or something.
Yeah. No worries. How many boys did you have play at Morwell Youth?
Two, Rodney and Gary played there.
What sort of games did they play?
Well, they started in under 10s and finished in under 16, so they probably played most of their junior career there and then went on to play for Morwell, both of them.
Yeah, and they played excess of 100 games or something there too, didn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
Had a great career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Rodney went on and won the Rodder medal, and Gary won the Hinkley medal in the same year. That's first and second for Morwell.
Yeah, that's good.
There was a few coaches. Freddie Fryer, for one. Alan Matheson. Cyril Weatherly, who's sort of hasn't got a mention in those papers, but Cyril coached for a fair few years.
He did, yeah.
Oh, I remember Dave Johnson and Teddy, I can't think of his name, you know him. Ted Hargraves, I remember him. He coached for a fair while.
Yep.
And I think he had good results, and Les Wilkerson. So
Who were the
there are
best
fewer.
sort of coaches?
I coached the under 12s and then I coached the under 16s.
What were some of the good times you remember coaching?
Some of the good times.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a lot of good times, we had a lot of bad times too. I remember the bad times more than the good ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tato was there. I remember one day when Ozzie Garks, do you remember him?
Yes, yeah.
Well, Ozzie wasn't a bad footballer. He ended up playing for Moe in the Latrobe Valley League. But Ozzie and David Green, who was a bit of a devil, and we were playing high school, and Freddie G's son was playing for high school.
Mm-hmm.
And Freddie was walking around the boundary, Bella and Ola, and Edmondson was the umpire.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bit of a fight on.
Yeah.
So they reported Greenie. I think he might have got 12 months. I'm not sure. He got put out for a fair while, but he never hit the bloke. It was Garchie.
All right.
But they reported the wrong bloke. But I remember going to the tribunal in Newborough, in the football club rooms in Newborough, and Edmondson parked his car about 3 blocks away. He was frightened they were going to let his tyres down to do some damage.